life, I feel like we shouldn't look at it with a tunnel vision. As in, this is who I am, this is who I'm going to be. I'm just a medical student.
True.
I'm just a UNAM student. Throw yourself out there as much as you can. Make yourself seen, make yourself heard, because when you shrink yourself in a career that's as competitive as medicine, people will not notice you. Does this thing that I want to do, and the extra thing now, align with who I want to be, or will it just be a waste of time? For their surgery, I'm glad I buried you. Yeah, because it was very difficult. It was an interpretation test.
Yeah.
They projected pictures, it was ophthalmology. And I'm just like, what are these things? You know, you're writing a test and you're not confident in any single answer that you're answering. That's when you know. Emphasis on surviving and making it out of the school of medicine.
Welcome to Becoming Health Namibia. I am Miriam. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome home. If you are new here, welcome, and welcome. And please don't forget to press that subscription button. I am excited to announce that we are starting a series called Get to Know Your Health / Future Health Professionals. As you can see, I am not alone here. I am joined by Tuilika Andreas.
Thank you so much, Miriam, for the invite. I'm so fortunate to be here.
I've actually been looking forward to this moment, like to actually have a sit down with you, because I feel like I have so many questions. So I'm just like grateful for this opportunity. So yeah, once again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, so guys, if you don't know Tuilika, this lady is doing so much. She is doing a lot, and the list is long. She's first a fifth-year medical student, which is a job on its own, like a lot of work on its own already. She's almost done, future doctor. She is founder of Poema, which is one of my favorites. She's also co-founder of Dear Girl Namibia. Please do check out their socials. She's also co-founder of Purposeful Camp Namibia. She is former Miss UNAM. She's also current Miss World University Namibia. Hopefully soon to be Miss Namibia. We're just waiting for her to apply. She has also been in the Student Representative Council for as long as I've been on the campus, and she was the Vice President of the Hage Geingob campus, which is School of Medicine, last year, and the list goes on.
That's actually a very long list, guys.
The list goes on, especially if we're to look at leadership, in terms of leadership, involvement, leadership positions. The list actually does go on, and I'm just like, how do you do it? Like, how do you balance it all? Like, how do you do it?
I don't think I look at it like that, you know, as like this whole list and all these things that I do. I just look at what am I doing now, and who am I supposed to be in this moment. So obviously medical school is the number one thing, that's the overarching aim of where I am right now, but all the other small things, they just come in as they come in, and then they go out as they go out. For example, Miss UNAM was that times thing, and then it went. But things like Poema, which is a business, it comes in depending on the time of the year when the clients need, you know. So and Vice President, I mean, that was also a once in a while thing. So really, when someone gives a bio of yourself, you actually don't realize how much you do until someone else says it. So when you were saying all those things, I'm like, what, is that really all me? So yeah, it's really all about doing what I have to do in the present moment.
Because I'm sure a lot of people want to maximize their potential. It's just, you know, we actually do want to see results, we want to be productive, but how don't you get lost in the case of prioritizing things or what's most important?
I like that you use the word maze, you know, because like a maze, there's always one way that leads to the, you know, to the outside of the actual maze. But throughout that whole maze, there are a lot of turns that you can take. So when you look at life, I feel like we shouldn't look at it with a tunnel vision, as in this is who I am, this is who I'm going to be. I'm just a medical student. I'm just a UNAM student, you understand? But rather look at it holistically and see which other ways you can take that will still lead to the person that you want to become. So at the end of the day, not trying to get lost in the maze is now the main question. And I think that should always remind you and bring you back to your core values and core principles. So sometimes we get lost in the maze because we focus on things that don't align with our personal brand or with our core values. For example, I could be in modeling and pageantry, but I don't necessarily stand for alcohol and things like that. So I wouldn't take a gig that advertises alcohol and things like that. But if I was to, I could get lost in the maze by going further away from the vision that I want to see myself in. So really having to sit down with yourself and understanding what are my core values and does this thing that I want to do and the extra thing now align with who I want to be, or will it just be a waste of time? You understand?
Also, what motivates you? What drives you?
Wow, that's a question I think we've been asked since primary school. I did pageants, so since primary school, that's a question that's always been there. I would say my answer to that question actually changes every time. Every year it changes as I look into who I want to become, what surrounds me, and so on. So, for example, my daily motivation to get up out of bed as a medical student, to show up, would probably be I need to show up for that patient, or I need to go so I can acquire an extra skill to be the competent doctor that I envision myself being. So it really comes down to your core values and who you want to be, and let that be your source of motivation. So I would say generally I have a few motivations that never change. For example, my mom, my family. Those are things that will continue to motivate me to do better, to be better. But really, I think what motivates me more and more is my present situation and how can I use today to better the person I want to become. So how can I contribute to doing activities, hobbies and habits today that will actually contribute to who I envision myself being. So like getting out of bed, things like that, just showing up, we need motivation for things like that. Although people say that you just need to force yourself through it, but really guys, I don't think you can really drag yourself out of it, especially if you've been to the point of depression. You will have to have something that will drive you through that.
That actually answered my next question, which was like for most people, like you said, we do envision ourselves as I'm going to be this, I want to achieve this. We see life as a tunnel, but it's not a tunnel, it's a maze. And for most people, life happens. The truth is life happens. A lot of things happen. And what would you say to somebody who finds themselves in a situation where they're facing a lot of challenges in life? You never know what that is for. It's different for everybody, but at the same time we still want to keep true to the purpose that we have. We still want to keep true to the goals that we have. What would you say to that person?
Guys, I feel like to a certain extent, we all go through major challenges, and sometimes the major challenge that I go through will not be exactly proportional to the one that you go through. Maybe my major challenge could be financial, yours could just be getting a cab to come to campus, things like that, but still to you it could be the biggest thing in your life. So I would always encourage people to persevere, persevere through it, persevere. And even when you feel like there is really no light, persevere with hope that one day the light will shine through. I mean, today, for example, I felt like, I swear guys, I felt like I was having bad luck. I don't believe in luck or stuff like that, because I think, we have God, and God is the orchestrator of all events for the goodness of those who believe in Him. But today, the phone of my screen broke, and then I got rained. There's just a lot happening, and with my planners, things are not going well, with the pageant, things were not going well. So through all of that, you really hit rock bottom. Like you find yourself in a point where you just hit rock bottom, and you even wonder, how am I going to get up from this? And truly, truly guys, I would encourage you to persevere. Try your best to persevere and try your best to seek help. Because perseverance also means doing something about the situation.
True.
Maybe sometimes we don't understand the words, you know.
Yeah.
Perseverance means at least you're trying, you know. Even if the effort that you're doing is not really equivalent to results, but at least you're getting up, you're feeding yourself, you're showering, you know, you're going outside for sunlight, things like that. That's technically you persevering through it all. And they actually always say that mental health or well-being generally is not about being okay all the time, but it's about building resilience. And when you build resilience over time, you realize that also your mental stamina becomes stronger and you get through situations that were beating you down previously much more easier. So really, the word is perseverance.
Please tell us a bit about Dear Girl Namibia.
Okay, so Dear Girl Namibia was started by my sister and I. It's a project that we started in 2019, our first year in Windhoek. We saw that there was a need in the community, but before we saw the need in the community, we saw the need within our families, within ourselves, within our sisters, and that need was that there was emptiness within girls, there was lack of sanitation amongst girls, there was lack of hope, lack of dignity, especially with the whole sexual assault, sexual violence towards women, so dignity becomes a problem. There was just a lack of confidence generally as well, but through all of that we also understood that there was a lack of godly women. So through Dear Girl, we actually advocate for restoring hope and dignity amongst women and girls countrywide, and we do that through various means, be it providing sanitation, be it providing healing seminars where girls can come and learn what the healing process looks like, and more importantly, we facilitate dignity campaigns where we sit down with the girls, we talk about purpose, identity, belonging, and we teach younger girls how to use a menstrual cup, how to use a menstrual pad, because more often than not, there's no one that teaches us these things at home. Yeah, so that's in a nutshell, Dear Girl.
That's true. This is actually a great initiative, especially when you mentioned the whole sanitation, because I believe that in our community there's a lot of menstruation stigmatization that's happening, and I'm just glad that you guys are at least trying to be part of the change that's happening. So yes, please do check out Dear Girl Namibia. They are doing a great course. Follow their Instagram page, do engage with them. So tell us about your journey in medical school. Perhaps you can include study tips, experiences that you've had, things that you consider as highlights so far of your medical school career. Yeah, just tell us about your journey through medical school.
Okay, that's a broad question,
Yeah.
so I'll try to answer it as best as I can. So I joined the School of Medicine in 2019. I'm originally from Walvis Bay. I went to Danesig Combined School, now high school, and I was a DAX learner. I was everything that almost everyone is in medical school. I mean, coming to medical school, we are all top performers.
Exactly.
And then you come here and everyone is a top performer, so you're like, am I still the top performer, you know? So everyone is technically the top performer in School of Medicine, and for me that was actually a wow. It wasn't a shock, and I think for most people it's a shock because they are used to being the only ones shining in the community. But for me, I was like, wow, I feel like I found my people, you know, and these are the people I want to work with and, you know, go forward with. So I started in 2019, first year. To be honest, guys, I was one of the people who struggled to get into the school. I appealed. Reason being, my August results weren't the best because mid-year, I think April, I traveled to the States for a leadership program. So I wrote 2 exams in 1 semester in my grade 12 year. So it was quite hectic, and obviously writing a 3 in math is not good enough for medical school. But with my final results, I got full ones, that time the previous system. So I mean, they just had to accept me. And also I came with so many certificates, trying to explain, you know, but medical school doesn't look at those things. They just want your report. If you qualify, you qualify. They don't want you were junior counselor, you were head girl things, no. So thankfully I you know, got accepted into medical school, and that was the start of a beautiful journey. I met so many amazing friends here, you know, especially with study groups and all of that. I think that has to be the highlight of my journey thus far. just sitting in this block at 3 a.m. studying the cranial nerves, and we are in the literal cranial nerves.
Yeah.
So that really speaks to me, and I love being in a community. So starting off in first year, I appreciated the fact that I could make a lot of friends and build a community for myself. And I think truly the most important thing in medical school is having a community, people you can study with, people you can share resources with. Do not be an island, because when you're an island, you tend to isolate yourself first of all, and you tend to miss out on a lot of important information and important resources like past papers and things that can help you. So first year was a shock, even though I knew we would be going to the dissection hall and things like that, but still a shock. I mean, working with cadavers and just being exposed to the formaldehyde that smells so badly and gets stuck on your clothes, things like that. But it was quite an experience, and I think from there I also realized that I'm not really someone who gets disgusted, which again is something that a lot of people struggle with when they come to medical school, because you see blood, you see vomit, you see mucus, you see all the possible most disgusting things that many people don't like. I will then touch on, I think, how I survived throughout medical school thus far. I would like to use the word survive, because I feel like really, guys, this school is about surviving. You're really moving forward, but you're barely holding on.
Emphasis on surviving.
Emphasis on surviving. You should really try your best to survive and stay afloat. And like I mentioned before, the one important thing that can help you is a community. But other than that, the other second, I think actually the first most important thing is the habits that you cultivate throughout medical school. Because guys, trust me, your habits will keep you going. If you have strong habits in place, a strong routine, it will keep you going even on days where you feel like you can't get up and things like that. And as we all know, a habit is something that you repeat over and over, that it becomes second nature, like brushing your teeth, like automatically switching on the TV, things like that, you know, those become habits. So in medical school, the most important habits that you need to build are study habits. But on top of that, really lifestyle habits as well. But I'd like to touch on the study habits. The study habits that I think are very important are things like spaced repetition, things like using apps like Pomodoros and Ankis and things like that, and just going into the habit of perhaps reading your notes before class, reading your notes after class, habits like making notes or not making notes. But personally, I don't recommend making notes anymore, because I feel like making notes actually takes up time instead of actively studying. And many times when we come to medical school, we are actually very passive students. We come here and we are just passive learners. We either write the whole physiology book. So there was that book actually that we were recommended to read, and a lot of people were just reading that book. But anyways, fast forward. I think it's really important that you build proper study habits that will keep you going on days where you are struggling. Because as a medical student, the secret is not in how smart you are, you know, it's actually in how hardworking you are. And that's the truth. Sometimes they say that the most hardworking people don't actually make it, but the most hardworking people go forward. And that's the truth. The most hardworking people will stay up the whole night to read or to study. But people who think they are just smart and they depend on either listening in class and not really solidifying content, they will struggle in the long run, you know. Fast forward to second and third year, we were the COVID group, so it was quite a struggle for us, especially because we missed our clinics, and we had to start COBs in third year. Fresh, no hospital experience, no clinic experience. I did not even know how to take blood pressure in my third year, so it was crazy, guys. But thankfully, the staff was so kind. I did mine in real, but people were so kind. They were teaching us and encouraging us to do procedures and all of that, which again is important. Throw yourself out there as much as you can. Make yourself seen, make yourself heard, because when you shrink yourself in a career that's as competitive as medicine, people will not notice you, and your seniors will not draw closer to you, because then you are also shrinking yourself. And what we want to do is to be teachable and to be presentable as well. So throwing yourself out there and making sure you avail yourself, but most importantly, not stepping on your colleagues and not making your colleagues feel inferior, which again is a thing that is very likely to happen amongst competitive people. So try to be kind to other people, because one day that is going to be the person you need on call, or that's going to be the person who must be your help. But also not just because what you can gain from them, also just for respect, that this is another person who's trying to study as well. So not stepping on each other, but definitely putting yourself out there. So when I transitioned to my clinical years, I think it was quite a challenge coming from theory to clinicals, or just rotations and stuff like that. Adapting in the hospital and all of that. I think I'm actually quite a shy person, although a lot of people might disagree.
I'm one of those people. I highly disagree.
But trust me, guys, I am very, very shy actually, and I have this thing of I must throw myself. Even if I'm shy, I must make sure that at least I go home having said something. Because sometimes it's like the doctor will ask questions, all of us throwing questions, and you just don't know anything. You don't know any answer. You're just like, at least the next one, I must know the answer. And you just don't know. And that's a normal experience in medical school. I feel like a lot of people don't know that it's normal to not know. And it's normal to feel like you don't know. Because at the end of the day, it's a course that requires you to be continuously learning, and you learn through realizing what you don't know. Not necessarily what you know, but realizing that you don't know. Then you go home and you learn. So the first few years, which is now third year and fourth year, I'm saying it as if I'm a consultant. The third year and fourth year were quite a bliss. I loved them a lot, and I loved the hospital. I got to love certain rotations more than others. For example, I'm more of an obs and gynae, although a lot of people hate obs. I don't even know. Why did I hate obs so much? Like in your last video, you guys were bashing obs, right?
I feel like maybe it's our year that had such an experience with obs. I'm not sure if you guys had that experience as well.
We had the experience. I think why I love obs and gynae is that it's just obs and gynae. There are some modules, for example, with internal medicine. For example, neurology, and I love neurology, it's my second best. But with neurology, it's like the thing is not just black and white. If someone comes there with lower limb weakness, it could be 1,000 things. But with obs and gynae, someone comes with PV bleeding, it's either A or B. Like it's usually not so complicated, and also because I love women and I love working with women-centered care and stuff like that. So I think that's why I'm also so passionate about obs and gynae. But that was quite a nice rotation, and I loved surgery as well, which a lot of people also say is not so nice, but I love it so much. But general surgery, not fourth year surgery. Fourth year surgery, I'm glad I buried you. Because it was very difficult. That's really
special.
Yes, they were very difficult for me personally, and they just kept shocking me. When you think you know, and then you're just like, you don't know. And I remember we once wrote a test in it was an end of rotation test. They projected pictures, it was ophthalmology. And I'm just like, what are these things? You're writing a test and you're not confident in any single answer that you're answering. That's when you know this is a red flag. You need to go study, and you need to seriously sit down and study. So I'm not a distinction student in medical school. I'm averaging B's and C's, which is still good, but I still believe that I could do better, and I know that every single one of us can do better. But obviously the aim is to pass. Emphasis on surviving and making it out of the school of medicine, because just as hard as it is to get in, it's also very difficult to get out. I think someone posted that recently. It's difficult to get through and it's difficult to get out. So you really need to buckle up when you're in the school. But other than that, I'm really excited for fifth year, and I'm looking forward to that. In terms of study tips, I mentioned the spaced repetition, using Ankis and Pomodoros, and studying actively and not passively. And also just, asking questions, doing question banks on the internet. That also really helps. Just find ways that work for you and find the environment that works for you best.
Okay, so we all know that mental health is a challenge on this campus as well as in society. How do you relate to this?
Okay, so mental health, I think I touched on that a little bit previously when I was speaking about it's really all about resilience. But sometimes resilience is also just not there. And that's the reality of a lot of people, especially in the school. You know, I was the Secretary of Community Development when I was in my 3rd year, and that's when I saw the magnitude of mental health issues on our campus, where you find students having depression back and forth, or you find them struggling with deeper conditions like bipolar disorders or things like suicidal ideation. And these are things that happen, like you could see your friend walking and existing and you think they are fine, but actually they are not okay. So thankfully on our campus now we have a psychologist and they're actively working with the students to help them get better. So personally I think mental health hits a very soft spot for me. I really take mental health to heart. It hits a very soft spot for me because I think I'm a very sensitive person. This doesn't mean that I'm not brave or confident or that I don't show up, but just that things hit me deeper than perhaps the ordinary person. So for example, with last year, I think I was really at my lowest with my mental health. And you know, actually in first year when we came to this campus, one senior was telling us that by the time you leave medical school, you probably would have cried in almost every corner of the school, which is actually very funny because I remember in my first year, I went to the library, I left that class, I think it was a physiology class, and I went to sit in the library and I cried. And I went back like nothing happened. And even recently, I think last year, I would always go to this one corner on campus and I would just sit there and sometimes cry or just think, you know. So I think personally it really took a toll on me to the point where it just becomes very difficult to get up, you know, get out of bed, shower, show up and things like that, which I also spoke about previously. And these are valid challenges. I think that sometimes, especially because our parents are not in our generation and they don't deem mental health as such an important thing, we don't understand when you tell them, you know, I'm just really struggling to do stuff, and they're like, no, just you don't even pay bills, just you know, get up and do, which is not as easy as it can be said. It's actually much more difficult. So I've been a mental health advocate for as long as I can remember, and I spoke a lot about mental health, especially during COVID-19, where we know that losing a loved one just so suddenly hits so differently and so much more painful compared to when you anticipate it. I mean, even when you anticipate it, it's still very painful. But the pandemic really came with a lot of loss. And I saw the loss myself doing COBs in Rehoboth. I saw how people were going every single day. So that again takes a toll on people. And I think lastly, I would like to leave advice in terms of mental health. And not the ordinary, you know, seek help, don't battle all of this on your own and all of that. But what I'd like to say is allow yourself, you know, allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to be in that state, because you are in that state, and the best thing you can do is acknowledge that you are in that state. A lot of the times we are actually very delusional and very ignorant of our feelings, and we just try to cup and, as people say these days. But really allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to sit down and evaluate your emotions and understand what is making you feel this way, what are your possible triggers, and then after that at least try to find help. But most importantly, allow yourself.
Okay, so moving on to the next question is, why did you choose to do medicine? Why medicine?
Oh, that question. I feel like I've been saying that question for all the questions, but why medicine? I feel like everyone must ask that question when they came to medical school. Yeah, and I'm so grateful that the reason why I'm here is not because my parents told me to do medicine. I'm also grateful that I'm here not because I'm an A student from high school. And I'm also glad that I'm here because I wasn't pressurized into doing medicine either by friends or by the community in general. But I'm glad that I'm here because I did research. Guys, one thing I have to tell you is do research. Stop depending on people and what people are just telling you. Do this course, do research about the course. What are you going to expect in the course? Trust me, 99% of students who come to medical school don't even know what medical school is about. Really do your research and maybe schedule a professional, which I did during my grade 11 and 12. I really sat down with myself. I took a lot of aptitude tests, personality tests as well, to see where my strengths lie, to see who I would like to become and all of that. And I noticed that I hate sitting behind the desk. I don't like working with money. And I don't like a lot of noise. Although the hospital used to be noisy, but not excessive noise. Do your research and know what you want to do, depending on your strengths, your weaknesses, and your personality as well. But other than that, I mean, I love science. I love working with people, which I always tell first years, for all people who want to apply to medical school, you must love people. You must have a passion for people, because if you come to becoming a doctor and you don't have that compassion and that passion for people, even your ethics will be compromised. The way you do your work will be compromised. So love people, be empathetic, not too much of an empath, but empathy should be there, compassion should be there. I once asked a senior why they decided to do medicine, and their answer was they would like to do something that helps people but doesn't involve money. Doesn't always involve money. So being a doctor, you have basically everything you need to help someone up here. True. So when you have the knowledge and everything, you can literally help someone in the most critical of situations. So that also inspires me and continues to propel me.
So I would like you to just talk a bit about Poema, because I feel like the reason why I love Poema so much is, okay, so first of all, it resonates with just who I am, like I'm a God girl, and also what I love about Poema are the planners. The reason being is because I like getting my things done, I mean, life does happen, but my focus is always still on my goal, and I feel like the best way for me to do that is through planning, and I feel like the planners do provide that. So yeah, just in short, like, tell us about Poema.
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for loving Poema. I think Poema is is my baby. From everything that I've ever done, Poema is my baby, and also because I work on it by myself, with assistances from my graphic designers and my friends who help me with deliverances and so on. But it's really an idea that I started solely on my own. But what is Poema? Poema, the name itself means masterpiece or God's workmanship. It's a Greek word. And the first time I actually heard it was at the Rock Lodge. I went there for training, and this one facilitator was calling us Poema. You are Poema. And since then, that name stuck with me. I actually even made it my middle name. I was this close to putting it on my birth certificate because it's just such a beautiful word. But the whole idea behind Poema really is that it is my ministry. I look at it as a ministry, and I look at it as a way in which I use my gifts, my talents, and the things I love to serve God and to encourage others to serve God. So as you said, you're a God girl, so ups to that. I mean, we all need a big sister or just a space where we can find hope and comfort, and Poema is just that. From the apparel, I try to make clothing that is themed to speak the word of God and to give encouragement. With the planners, if you look at them, there are Bible verses all over. The way it's structured really is in a way to help you stay organized, but also to help you see God in your day. So as you go through your day, you are constantly reminded that God sees you, He's there for you, and He's providing for you, and He's walking with you throughout. So yeah, it's definitely a ministry to me, and I take it wholeheartedly.
We are at our last question, and our last question is, which health awareness topic do you think is not being done justice to, and how do you think it should be improved in terms of awareness and bringing insight or shedding light to that?
Thank you for that question. I actually love the question a lot because it's medicine related, and it made me think about my course and the things I've seen in the hospital and how I've seen even parents or guardians and even patients themselves respond to that. But I do think the one thing that doesn't receive enough attention is children's health, especially in this country, and I would emphasize severe acute malnutrition. Guys, severe acute I'm even getting goosebumps just saying it, because this is such a deadly thing. It's so deadly. Children die every day from malnutrition in our hospitals, and more importantly in our regions, and not even in Windhoek. Windhoek is even better. If you go work in the regions, you will see how children die. And the problem is that they don't have proper systems in place, especially in the regions, to help children with malnutrition. They don't follow the WHO regulations. But other than the health aspect of it, I think the community aspect of it, because as a community, we should actually prioritize our children because they are the future, right? So as a community, I think it's so important that we find means and ways to help children from destitute communities, because it's mostly those children in small communities that come to the hospital nearly to the point of death, and sometimes there's little to nothing we can do. If you see a child suffering from malnutrition and that child gets treated, trust me, you will not recognize that child. The way those kids change, especially those ones who have marasmus, even kwashiorkor, but the marasmus ones, when they come back, it's as if they have been reborn. So I really think that as a country, malnutrition is something that deserves attention. Also, as I mentioned, that children are our future and they are the future of this country. So we should really try our best to advocate for things that are centered around children's health as well. Not just malnutrition, things like tuberculosis, which are obviously now the aftermath of a child suffering from malnutrition most of the time. And things like HIV and AIDS in children, which again is an aftermath, or is actually not an aftermath, but is the cause of the malnutrition at times. So again, just parental guidance and parental education is very important. I would even encourage medical students watching this channel, anyone else watching, to just, make time to serve the community around you. With that, thank you guys so much for tuning in and for making it this far to the end of the video. I really appreciate it that you took time to watch this video by becoming Health Namibia, the first episode of the new series that our lovely Miriam has released. So please don't forget to share this video, like, subscribe, and remember to comment below what you've taken away from this video or what you can add on to your personal journey of doing medicine, to becoming a doctor, or to becoming any other course that you're doing. So remember guys to continue following the channel, stay up to date by subscribing again, sharing, liking and commenting, and I hope to see you guys in the comment section because I will be there every day live. Bye guys.